That was the ideal bounce-back game the Pacers needed. After getting blown out here in Game 3, they come back and flip the script in Game 4 with a 129-109 victory. In this game, the tone was set in the first half, and then it was smooth sailings from there. The Pacers built a 41-point halftime lead, which ties an NBA postseason record. 3 players finishing with at least 20 points, 7 players finish in double figures. This was a dominant performance from start to finish, and now the Pacers are just a game away from heading back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Are tied for the largest halftime lead in playoff history. When did you realize that your team had it to that extent tonight?
We haven't done anything yet. We're a pretty significant underdog in every game we've played in this series, and that will continue till the end. And we're going to keep approaching this like we have everything to prove. And we know people don't believe in us, and so we're going to just stay in the fight and keep fighting. All things about the scores and all that other stuff's meaningless. That this game is now history. And so we got to stay in the present moment as much as we can, try to maintain an edge. There's going to be a big haymaker coming on whatever day it is, Tuesday. And, that building is one of the few buildings that rivals Gainbridge for noise and fan enthusiasm and everything else. So, we respect the heck out of their fans and what they got going there. So a lot of work to do.
You've continually, including just now, said that each game will be harder than the previous one. What has allowed your team to continue to meet those challenges throughout the playoffs?
It's just a day-to-day, hour-to-hour thing. A playoff series is, I don't know, sometimes they're 10, 12 days, sometimes they're 2 weeks. They have incredibly high and low ebbs and flows. A lot of things going on, a lot of conversation. Back in the old days, before social media, you had newspapers and there was plenty going on then. Now there's stuff going on in real time, as you sit and breathe, So you got to try to know the things to ignore and just stay in the moment and stay in the process.
What was your view of the Benedict Mathurin ejection moment?
I had a lot of questions about it. I saw one still shot where it looked like he had his hand flat, but they have a lot of different views. Whatever happened. He'll accept the ejection. Whatever else happens from it, and we just got to move forward. It's a learning experience for him, it's playoff series are physical, they're chippy, they're personal, and we gotta stay out of the weeds of things that take us away from what we do best.
So obviously Pascal and Obi got you started offensively, getting some post-ups against the back line of that 3-2. Just what kind of showed you that was the way to attack this thing, and what impressed you about just the way Pascal and Obi both handled getting buckets around the rim and also moving outside?
Yeah, we just had a better attitude about attacking the zone tonight, and we did it with greater urgency and more attitude. And that's the main thing. I mean, we've seen more zone than anybody in the league this year, so. We had to make some adjustments, but the biggest adjustments were adjustments in attitude, and sort of how we brought a certain level of aggression to it, and we did better tonight. But we did better also because we rebounded better.
With Myles obviously hit some big shots for you down the stretch, also get some of those post-up buckets. Just what did you like about his game? How important was those shots he hit to kind of make that thing start to snowball?
Yeah, there were some. We had some very good runs when we needed them, particularly in the first half. And I'm not crazy about the way the game ended. It's just, garbage time is ugly. It can be ugly, but we did a lot of good things to get ourselves enough of a cushion to finish the game. So I'm grateful for that. We had a lot of guys that did a lot of good things, and now it's over.
8 of 32 in the first half, you guys held them to. Just what'd you like defensively? 14 turnovers as well. I think they were like .77 per possession. Just what stood out to you just on that end?
Got to play with intensity and play clean. You don't like seeing them shooting 40 free throws, and they're shooting, an inordinate amount of free throws in this series, and so we've just got to look at it and figure out ways to play cleaner and still have a level of aggression and physicality without having to go to the line all night. So we'll look at it and we'll try to do better.
I think Obi provided you with, just from a shot-making standpoint off the bench, and also the Dr. J-esque layup?
Well, when they go to small lineups, having Obi and Pascal is a blessing for us because it allows us to match small and still maintain some size. I mean, those guys are still pretty big. And so he did a lot of good things tonight. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to shoot open shots. He's going to be able to create late clock when you're in a bit of a bind, and he's a mover. He moves well. He's one of the guys that fuels us when we play well offensively. So it was much needed. Look, Game 3 was ugly. It was ugly, and our crowd was another thing that really fueled us tonight. And our guys responded well, but as I said, it's over. And now we got to get ready for the next.
What's up, guys? I'm Tyrese Haliburton. I'm here to do media. Hope that's worthwhile news. Let's get into it.
You guys are 41 at halftime. Was there a moment in that first half you realized or felt, oh, man, we really have it tonight?
We just came out with good energy. I thought last game they set the tone from a physicality standpoint. That's been a talking point from them all series, and they set the tone. And today we came out, set the tone from the jump, and really just rode that wave. But I was really, really proud of our performance. I thought obviously the first half was pretty amazing, the shot making, and I thought we were really good on the defensive end. But there's still, we still got a lot of work to do, and just taking it a day at a time. You can feel good about this for the night and move on. But we had a lot of different guys step up. Our bench was amazing. Obi, TJ, Shep. TB in his first half stint I thought was really good. So we had a lot of different guys chip in, and that's why you see such a balanced scoring effort from all of us.
You guys have 3 20-point losses the last 2 playoffs. You won the ensuing game all 3 times. What is it about you guys, or strategically or mentally, that makes it possible to respond like that?
Well, I think first of all, our film sessions are always pretty ugly after a loss, especially when I think over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, you've seen when we are in like a 2-game series with somebody and we lose the first game, we typically come to play that second game. I feel like Coach is a savant when it comes to adjustments and getting the best out of guys, and I think we kind of just follow that lead, and his intensity come playoff time is it's easy to follow. And when we have a game like we had last game, such a letdown, he sets the tone with our energy in practice or film or whatever, and we just kind of follow that lead. So I feel like we're a resilient group. We've been through a lot, and we've been together for some time now. So I feel like you can always count on us to respond the right way.
Shit's ugly. Is it the film itself that's ugly? The mood in the room? What can you describe that a little
Well,
bit?
the film's ugly. But I think Coach does a great job of challenging guys as well. I typically get the brunt of it first, and then it kind of trickles down. But I think he does such a great job of creating, having equity within his relationships with all of us, that we know he just wants the best for this team and this organization. So we have a lot of conversations, me and him with other guys. You always see him sitting down with guys in the gym and things like that. So, I feel like that's really important, and, that's why he's one of the best at what he does.
Seemed like out of the gate, you guys looked to Pascal and Obi to kind of attack the back line of that 3-2. Just how did you guys kind of see that as an opportunity, and what made them, how important was that? How good were those guys at just taking advantage of those, just getting smaller guys they could post up and score on?
Yeah, I think those guys just setting the tone, really sealing, especially P to start the game. really got going. And then when Obi checked in, he did a great job when he was setting screens, sealing the smaller guy and just finishing over the top. So I thought those guys were really good at setting the tone. I feel like last game we weren't in the paint as much, and I feel like they did a great job of setting the tone. We all just followed it from there. But I felt like our level of aggression on both sides of the floor really set the tone, and we just kind of followed that lead. So those guys were huge for us tonight.
Beyond that, Myles obviously gets into that a little bit, also hits those big shots. I mean, how much did he kind of take it up another notch when he starts hitting some threes and getting the post-ups on top of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously what Myles brings to the table is amazing. His ability to space the floor as a big, and with them kind of going all out to deny and blitz me, I feel like we can really get him some open looks, and he's taking advantage of those and just playing the right way, letting the game come to him, not forcing anything, and I think he poses a different threat than, most teams have at that 5 position. But I thought he did a great job of, not only shooting the three, but establishing himself in the paint when they want to switch. And, I thought he was really good.
Tyrese, hey, Rick was in here saying that playoff series get personal and get chippy and all that. Can you talk about what happened in the first half when you hit a technical free throw and then you hit a three and the bench was giving it to you, I guess, or you're giving it back? Like, what's going on? What's going on there?
Well, Tristan Thompson, as many of you know, is like my big brother. We got traded here together. We're really close. We talk very often. And we haven't really said many words to each other all series. And last game, he was letting me hear it on the bench. So it was really just like little bro, big bro banter between me and TT. But that's family, and that's all it's all part of the fun.
You guys scored 35 off turnovers. What allowed you guys just to generate so many turnovers in that first half?
I think just our level of aggression, picking up full court, getting into guys as much as we could. I feel like, that set the tone. Them turning the ball and rebounding. I think those were the big things. They've been out-rebounding us, killing us on the glass, every game this series, and that's allowed them to, if they do get the rebound, get more shots and more opportunities to rebound again. But if they don't get the rebound, they're getting hits on us, and then Strus is on full court after he crashes, face guard and all that stuff. So I thought we did a good job of rebounding off the jump, and then that allowed us to play in transition more, where we feel like, we're one of the best teams in the world at doing that. So, when we can get a couple buckets where we get out and run, I feel like the momentum really starts to go our way, and especially when this crowd gets behind us, we're tough to beat. So I thought we did a good job of, getting stops, holding them to one shot. If we were forcing a turnover, if we were rebounding, getting out and running, and just playing pacer basketball.
This was, basically guarding you the same way as last game. Just kind of how do you feel you sort of handled and adjusted at this game points-wise, 11 still below your scoring average, but just how did you feel you impacted the flow of the game tonight compared to the last game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I did a better job of moving without the ball. I feel like I've caught myself standing too high, like a half court, and then I'm really doing nothing at that point. But if I can get lower, become more of a screener, I got a bunch of off-ball foul calls because he's grabbing me with two hands the whole time. So I did a better job there, but still room for me to improve. Keep watching the film, see where I can get better. But I thought I did a good job of not allowing him to take me out, and I thought my teammates did a great job of screening for me, getting me open, and telling me to screen for them as well, because if they're going to guard me that way and try to make it play 4-on-4, and he's not going to leave me, if I screen, I can get other guys open. So it's all a game within the game.
Tyrese, what have you learned about just stardom? I know you had a piece with Jared recently talking about everything you've been through just mentally and stuff like that. Criticism gets loud after Game 3, the performance, not talking. So how have you kind of navigated what it means to be a star?
It's just basketball, bro. I get paid a lot of money to play a child's game. So I love what I do. I love my job. I don't even really look at it as a job. I have a lot of fun with what I do. And, I think there's, always commentary behind what I do, positive or negative, and it's hilarious because a lot of times it's people who know nothing about me have so much to say. It's usually the people who, don't come around or don't spend any time around me that have the most to say. But that's all part of it. I'm a basketball player. I love what I do. I love being here in Indiana. I love playing for this organization. I feel like, criticism, sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's not, but it's all part of it. And I feel like, as far as, last game, I feel like our PR team does a a great job of putting me out there when it's time to talk, and I got to come out here and talk when it is time. And I think Mike and the staff did tried to protect me a little bit last game. Maybe went a little overboard. Maybe I should have overruled it and come out here, but I wasn't really in the mood to speak, and he told me that he didn't want me to speak, so I left. And so if that's a problem, you guys are more than willing. I mean, obviously, you guys are more than willing to talk about it. So keep having commentary around it. I'll continue to do what I do and live my life the same way. But it's all part of it, man. But it's just basketball. And I guess I'd rather have this issue. I'd rather have you guys talking about me positive, negatively, talking about me than not care who I am at all. So, I mean, life's good.
Did you think it was a mistake at all?
Going back on it, maybe I should have spoke. Yeah, sure, probably. Yeah, I probably should have spoke, but I'm a human being. So, not everybody here is perfect all the time. And, I answered all your questions the next day. I'm here again today. Any questions you guys have? I mean, for most of you guys that are here who come to every game, I am on this podium after every game. So the one game that I'm not, I know that, somebody had to put out an article about me not showing up when, they only show up for negative things that happen with our team. So, it's all part of it.
I didn't know you were going to lose that game. That's what you're getting at. If I won that game, I would have written about that too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Dustin writes about it all the time, but I'm sure you would have.
Myles, that second quarter heater for both you and the team, how did that feel in the moment?
It was great, man. I think that when we get going like that, we're a tough team to beat, but it all comes with our ball movement, don't forget how many assists we had, but that's our style of play, when we're in the ball's humming and, everybody gets to touch the ball and everybody feels good.
What about this group makes responding to 20-point losses something you guys do routinely, even in a postseason setting?
I think we thrive in adversity. I think that, when after last game, obviously we know what was wrong. It was the rebounds. They were more physical than us. And then once we were able to actually watch it on film and see what was going on, I think it woke something up in us. I think that's typically what happens, especially this time of the year. I think that we have a special group. And again, adversity is something I think we thrive in.
Ty just talked about Rick yesterday. What about him, do you think stands out as his best skill between games, especially ones you lose, and in terms of adjustment, how he takes you through film, stuff like that?
Well, one, it's Rick and his staff. Rick he's someone who doesn't just try to take control of all situations, whether it's, Jenny, Mike, Lloyd Pierce, all these guys, man, they work tirelessly. I think that our staff, our red team, that's what we call them, our green team, our guys who go over scout, the day before, those guys don't get enough credit. So I think Rick is, he's able to listen. He's able to command respect too. I think that's one big thing that's, an underrated skill in most coaches. When he talks, people listen, and I think that he did an amazing job of just getting us ready.
I guess keeping with the theme of the adjustment, how did you guys kind of identify that your opportunity against the 3-2 was to kind of find a smaller defender on that back line and post him? Because it seemed like you were able to do that. Pascal was able to do that. Obi. How did that get you guys started, and how did sort of everything open up with the ball movement from there?
It was a multitude of things. I think it was good to, see it on film, and see, where we struggled, where the ball, stuck a bit. And, I'm not going to go here and dissect the entire offense, but yeah, I think that, it was good for us to, see it, feel it, and be able to adjust.
What just got you going personally? At what point could you just feel that there was some opportunity there and that you had some clean looks, basically you got a chance to just get going?
It was nothing particular. I just think I was being aggressive. I saw daylight, you just take advantage of it. But, whenever you're able to pass the ball, too, now that I don't really know what happens, I was able to hit, Obi on a cut in the baseline, and I was able to hit Aaron in the corner, and other assists, not even sure what they were, but now you have the defense on their heels. I don't know if you're going to shoot or pass it, so I think that got me going as well.
So what impressed you about Pascal and Obi both? It seemed like they really got you started going offensively. What do you think they just did well in those post-ups, and how big was it to get those guys started, and especially get Pascal rolling early?
Yeah, Pascal, he got in early foul trouble, and for any player, they'll tell you like that. It eats at you a little bit because you can't be out there, you can't be as aggressive. But I think they did a good job of coming in and picking and choosing the spots and really picked us up. Obi has been consistent all year with his shooting. I think that he did a good job of being aggressive and going to the post. But Obi's just doing Obi things. It's nothing just very different. To me personally, I just think that he was able to be a little more aggressive tonight.
You talked a lot yesterday at practice about playing with more force. What did you think about the full court pressure you guys put on the Cleveland's backcourt and just kind of making it harder for them to get into their offense early on?
Yeah, no, we call it the wear down effect. Over being picked up in 94 feet over the course of a 48-minute game and a 7-game series. You're going to start to feel that, and we're in shape for it. We've been preparing for it for years. Honestly, just over the past 3-4 years, we've been instilling it, and yeah, no, I was impressed with we was able to keep them off the glass. That was obviously a big part of our goal tonight. And yeah, I think overall it was a great effort.
Myles here in the back. After a dominant win like this, what does it do for this team knowing you're one win away from repeating, getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Doesn't do a thing. Job's not finished. Great quote the great Kobe Bryant. I think that that's real. You got to be able to go into hostile territory and be able to stay focused. I think that people are going to start talking about us now. We're this, we're that. We got to keep our heads down. Keep our blinders on and just keep rolling, man. Just ignore the noise and continue to keep playing our brand of basketball.
Myles, last one I believe, but you wrote the Players Tribune article. You come out and have a Q game tonight. When you're living in the moment you talked about in the article, what is that like, and what compelled you to, I guess, put yourself out there in that format?
Well, to answer your first question, it's dope, man. It's just when preparation meets opportunity. I've really been. Once I got my first experience, last year getting out the first round, it became addicting, you know what I mean? I wanted to experience that again. And, here we are a year later, doing the same thing and, continuing to do the same thing. So it's really a beautiful moment in sports. Not a lot of people get to experience this level of success. And I don't take it for granted. I met with Tyson Chandler this summer. Obviously has a great relationship with Rick. And I think he said he was in the league for 17, 18, 19 years, whatever it was. He said he only had 2 legitimate opportunities, to try to win a championship in that 17, 18, 19-year career. So, I don't know, where my career would take me, but living in the moment and being present is something I've been very keen on and something I've been trying to, get our guys to, understand as well, just being in this present moment. And as far as the article is concerned, I've never had a problem being vulnerable, and just sharing my journey. And because I know I've been through a lot, but I know I'm not the only person out there who's been through a lot. At the end of the day, this is sports, man. It's entertainment. There's people go through stuff on a real life basis. So, if I can share a little bit of my, journey or a little bit of my just my livelihood, I don't know who I'm helping out there, but hopefully it's somebody. And I think it was just a great timing, obviously, just for the city, being able to experience, us playing at a high level and just having fun with it overall.
Myles, Rick had mentioned that you guys were underdogs in every playoff game so far. You probably will be again. Is it possible to still keep an underdog mentality when you have a 3-1 series lead?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, bro. Again, this is a 7-game series at the end of the day. I think that we know the opportunity, that's just kind of like low-hanging fruit right in front of us. But, that team was number 1 in the East for a reason. They're not just going to lay down. So we got to go in there and earn the series as opposed to, just letting it just happen.
Yeah, it was ugly. Obviously, we just know we didn't play the way we were supposed to. Yeah, those games are supposed to hurt. But I thought the guys responded well to the film. And we knew, it had to be different. Just the way we approached the game, it just wasn't us. So we try to get back to who we are.
You've drawn on your past playoff experiences a lot for these guys. What do you think makes this group capable of responding after big or tough losses all the time?
Yeah, no, because I think, we have guys that care at the end of the day. And it's like when we watch film or we look at things that we didn't do well, it's not emotional. It's all about correcting it. It's all about getting better. And the guys know it, and we just have that same understanding that at the end of the day, like, we all care about winning, and that's all it is. And if you didn't do well, I have the trust and the confidence that we're going to come back and do better. It doesn't always mean winning, but as long as the effort is there and the things that we do and who we are as a team, are there, I take that every single night.
How did that first half feel compared to some of the best stretches this group has ever had?
I think obviously, you score points, that feels good, but I thought our energy, our effort was there. I don't know what the rebounding was, but just trying to, keep them to one shot and just fight, man. I just thought we had fight. I don't really look at, the points and all that stuff. I just thought our fight was there, which is important, and that's Pacers basketball.
But I guess obviously it seemed like you and Obi basically you kind of attacked some of those opportunities to post up basically on the back line. I guess how did you guys sort of see that as an opportunity, and what do you think each of you did well in terms of just getting a smaller defender back there and being able to get the
I just got to take whatever is there, be aggressive. That's really all it was, like just being aggressive, and it doesn't matter if it's me, Obi, or Myles, or whoever, just be aggressive.
How do you feel like that just opened up everything else? It just seemed like after a while, just the ball was popping after you two in particular got started.
No, we got to keep moving the ball. That's who we are. Like that's our brand of basketball, and that's who we want to be. So I think at the end of the day for us is just continue to be us, no matter what. And there's going to be some games where it's going to be tough, but we got to keep our identity and who we are. And it doesn't matter who does what. It's all about getting the win at the end of it, and that's who we've been. And if you look across the board, like everybody's contributing, and that's who we want to be as a team.
Just to keep going on that, what impressed you about Obi and Myles? Just the way that they played. Obviously, Obi was taking advantage of a lot of the same situations, but Myles hit some big threes. Just how big were those two guys?
Yeah, they were great. I thought the first unit was great. We had the energy from the beginning, and then the group that came after followed. And Myles played big minutes. Obviously, made some big shots. Obi did the same. He was just active, I think. And when Obi is active, athletic, and running, like that's like. He's unstoppable out there just because of just how gifted he is, like just being an athlete, and I thought that's what he did tonight.
Pascal, what is it like when you see Myles just lighting it up like that at the end of the second quarter?
No, it feels good. It's going in, right?
I mean, but I guess when you know all he's been through with the franchise, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's phased his basketball, at the end of the day. And for me, I love the effort that he gives us on defense, blocking shots, and all the things that he does for us. And again, he has the ability to shoot also. And on nights like this, it feels good. At the end of the day, it's going in. We're good.
Pascal, I feel like this whole Pacer season has really been defined by resilience. And Tyrese even talked earlier. He was saying you guys are a resilient group, and I believe that you are. Where would you say that resilience stems from? Would you say it stems from your belief in each other? Where would you say that resilience
I think we work hard. We work really hard. I think you have a group of people that probably wasn't given anything. We're in a situation where, at the end of the day, nobody really cared to see us win, So when you have that and you have that belief of it's us against everybody, we are who we are. That's our team, and the guys around. And I said that in the summer. Look at everybody around this room. This is who we are, and this is what we have, and we've believed that from the beginning, and that's what we got to continue to do. And then when times are tough, we just rely on each other, and that's all it is, to be honest. And like I said, there's no ego, there's no, no emotions, and it's just about correcting the mistakes and getting better as a team. And that's what you want to have on a team. And talking about correcting mistakes, I think in the second half they had 70-something points. That's not us. So we're going to go back. I'm sure there's going to be film on that. We got to get better.
All right, welcome back into Gamebridge Fieldhouse, where the Pacers now have a 3-1 series lead, and not only did they win this convincingly, they dominated convincingly. Joined now with Tony East of Locked On Pacers, and Tony, that was just about as good as a first half as you can ever imagine, and the Pacers were just pouring everything in.
Spent a lot of my second half looking up various franchise records because that's what that game required. Amazing first half, incredible second quarter. Several Pacers players hit more two-point shots by themselves than the entire Cavs team in the first half, which showed me two things. One, their offense was great. Two, their defense was great. The requirements for playing a good basketball game. And that's what the Pacers said they could do, right? They told us after game 3, yep, we stunk. We own it. We'll look at the film. We'll be better. They've done that the last 2 seasons. You're forced to believe them, and they show you why with a game like that where they're up 41 at halftime. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yep, tied an NBA postseason record for a lead at halftime. You kind of mentioned it there. Game 3 to Game 4, I think, was effort. After we talked about Game 3, that effort came out in a big way. What is Rick Carlisle able to do to be able to get these bounce-back performances like that you asked in postgame?
Yeah, Tyrese talked about it like he's just a master of adjustments. You know, they talked about effort. That's part of it. Their rebounding was not good in Game 3, but they struggled with that zone defense. They couldn't guard Donovan Mitchell, and he was hurt today, but still they did well against it. Like a lot of stuff that they have had trouble with either last game or in the series, they were way better against today. They figured out how to get the right screens at the top of that zone to set up the shots they want. They figured out how to slow Mitchell a little bit more than they have in every other game this series. Their offense flowed in a way that it did not at all in the last game, right? All those little tiny things that to us are just like, oh, they changed this or that, amount to a huge thing when it's combined with the effort difference that you saw today. You know, Carlisle pregame, you heard him say it, the Cavs took 20 more shots last game. Like, that's almost insurmountable. The Pacers were the possession battle champs today. All of that stuff just added up to a huge change in fortune for the team today.
Yeah, it just shows you this game and how it can change in a matter of 48 hours. And was it a little bit of a surprise to you, I guess, how Cleveland, I guess, sort of came out in this one after Friday?
Yeah, it's still desperate for them. You know, they got to feel good if it was 2-2 going back to Cleveland with 2 more at home. Instead, they got to feel terrible. They've had 2 losses in this series now where they were just clearly the inferior team, and that's tough. The Pacers have earned it every step of the way, though. They were awesome in Game 1. They were awesome again tonight, and I wouldn't say Cleveland was like sluggish or rolled over or died or anything, but a lot of stuff I think they thought worked in Game 3 would work again, and this is what the Pacers are good at. When they see a problem, they address it and fix it, and when the Cavs were just slightly worse at a lot of those things, the Pacers were ready and on their throats all night.
3-1 now an opportunity to go into the land on Tuesday. Get a sense that there wasn't a lot of pressure with the players in this thing, but they know that the job still needs to be done heading into Tuesday.
They've been through this before. Last year, Milwaukee, they were up 3-1. They went to Milwaukee. Damian Lillard was out. Giannis was out. And they lost, right? They won Game 6. They won the series anyway, but they know it's not an easy task, even if the Cavs are banged up, even if the Cavs are ready to roll over because they can't keep up, whatever. It's still going to be challenging. That building is loud. It was last week. You know, their fans are going to be great. And the Cavs had 2 15-plus game win streaks this season. Their peak is still very high. The series is not over. They know that they have work to do to even win one, nonetheless prevent the other team from winning 3. So it's going to be hard. They have another home game if they want. They've done very well at home in the playoffs the last 2 years, especially when Haliburton plays. But far from over, even though they have to feel obviously great about being up 3-1.
I mentioned, sort of off the top of this, had 7 players scoring in double figures. You had 3 guys finishing with at least 20. Toppin coming off the bench today. How massive was he?
Phenomenal. They needed one of those front court guys off the bench to have that kind of game. Him and Brian have been up and down, I would say, in this series. Siakam and Toppin were exceptional all night, made everything, got to the cup, and I think the way the Cavs zone and their switching really works is it allowed those guys to either have favorable matchups or have space to operate. And either situation, they took advantage. On the history day of Dr. J's skyhook, we got to see an Toppin skyhook. Unbelievable shot from him. When he's at his best, he just ups the tempo for this team in a way that makes him look awesome and makes the team look their best when they play that fast. I thought he was terrific tonight, one of his best games of the playoffs, and it paid off in a big way.
So Donovan Mitchell didn't play in the second half, left ankle injury. Kenny Atkinson said that he will be getting an MRI. Didn't have much more on that. Then also, I guess if we're talking some history, Rick Carlisle surpassing Larry Bird, most playoff wins in franchise history with 33 now. Tony East, thank you again for joining us. We're going to be making the trip to Cleveland on Tuesday. You going to be there?
Yes, yeah.
All right, and we'll have all the coverage for it as on 13 Sports as well as right here on WTHR+. Alongside Tony East, I'm Eli Gain. Have a good one.